Easily the most corrupt family in American political history. What's up, everyone? Jared from Patriots and Pop Culture here. Something very interesting is going on. It's not that news about the Biden family corruption is coming out, because that's been coming out for years. What's interesting is the media is not covering it up the way that they were during the presidential election and before the primaries. Almost like maybe the media realizes their mistakes in hiding all of the corruption from the Biden family to get him elected. All the censorship, all the suppression. Now it's all coming out. Okay, I got an email from Graham Allen a couple hours ago. Decided to open it up given the fact that it was talking about leaked emails about Joe Biden, and I thought it was going to be something new. It's not. It's just that more places are about to start covering this because they realize that Joe Biden is bad for the country. I actually think that they knew Joe Biden was bad for the country, but they had such Trump derangement syndrome that none of that mattered. They just wanted the mean orange man out. Leaked emails revealed Joe Biden's involvement with son's overseas business. According to a new report, not new, Joe Biden met with Hunter Biden's foreign business associates while in office as vice president. The development is further proof that the Biden family abused their political position for profit. None of this is new. We've known about this. Joe Biden even bragged about his own quid pro quo, getting a prosecutor fired to protect his son in Burisma in Ukraine. None of this is new, but at least they're reporting on it now. The report released by the New York Post explains that Joe Biden met with the business associates from Ukraine, Russia, and Kazakhstan for dinner in Washington, D.C. on April 16th, 2015. And for people who are not good at math, this is gearing towards the end of his second term as vice president. So obviously he's trying to establish some sort of income stream for his family after he's no longer in power, because he expected to be retired after he was no longer vice president. Going over to the New York Post article that they were talking about, Hunter Biden brought VP Joe to dinner with shady business partners. Then Vice President Joe Biden met with Ukrainian, Russian, and Kazakhstani business associates of Hunter's. Joe Biden met with Ukrainian, Russian, and Kazakhstani business associates of his sons at a dinner in Washington, D.C. while he was vice president, records on Hunter Biden's abandoned laptop show. The dinner on April 16th, 2015, was held at the private garden room at Cafe Milano, a Georgetown institution whose catchphrase is, "Where the world's most powerful people go." The next day, Hunter received an email from an executive of the Ukrainian energy company Burisma to thank him for introducing him to his father. "Dear Hunter, thank you for inviting me to DC and giving an opportunity to meet your father and spent some time together." Dated April 17th, 2015. "It's really an honor and pleasure." The guest list prepared by Hunter 3 weeks before the Cafe Milano dinner included Russian billionaire Yelena Baturina and her husband, corrupt former Moscow mayor Yuri Luzkov, who has since died. Baturina wired $3.5 million on February 14th, 2014 to Rosemont Seneca Thornton LLC, a Delaware-based investment firm co-founded by Hunter and Devin Archer, a former advisor to Secretary of State John Kerry. The wires were flagged in suspicious activity reports provided by the Treasury to the Senate Republican inquiry to Hunter last year by the Homeland Security and Government Affairs Committee. Like I said, nothing new. They're just not suppressing it as much as they were. "Thank you for inviting me to DC. We've already gone over this quote. We'll skip down to the bottom. At the time, Burisma was paying Hunter $83,333 a month to sit on its board, where he had zero qualifications, and the only thing that got him the job was the fact that his father was vice president to, at that time, the most corrupt president in American history, Barack Obama. Joe Biden has now surpassed him. Hunter Biden explained to the guest that the meeting would be about food security with relation to his position on the board of World Food Programs USA. Okay, the reason for this dinner is ostensibly to discuss food security. Dad will be there, but keep that between us for now. Thanks. Everything is between us, all good. Michael Carlutzos, son of the then head of the Greek Orthodox Church, replied, I know you mentioned your dad would probably join the dinner as well. Joe Biden is clearly conflicted, and we now have proof that he lied about his connections to his son's overseas business dealings. And check out what the Daily Wire reported. The Post noted that it was not clear whether anyone on the list attended. One of Hunter Biden's business associates emailed him the day before to tell him that Baturina did not want to come, but her husband would attend. Biden has previously stated that he has never spoke to his son about his son's overseas business dealings. I have never spoken to my son about his overseas business dealings, Biden told a Fox News reporter in September 2019. I know Trump deserves to be investigated. He is violating every basic norm of a president. You should be asking him why he is on the phone with a foreign leader trying to intimidate a foreign leader. You should be looking at Trump. And what Joe was talking about specifically, what Trump was doing, trying to intimidate a foreign leader, was President Donald Trump asked the current president of Ukraine to look into what former Vice President Joe Biden did to the previous Ukrainian administration, intimidating them with a threat of withholding $1 billion of aid from the United States unless they fired a prosecutor who was looking into Burisma, the company that his son Hunter Biden was on the board of, a corrupt gas company in Ukraine. That's a quid pro quo. Not what Trump did, what Biden did. Look into this or you're not getting the money. And Joe Biden is on record bragging about it. He's on video, on stage, bragging about him withholding $1 billion unless they fired a prosecutor. Now, maybe whenever he did that, he didn't realize that a bunch of people were going to find out that his son was on the board. Maybe he was just trying to show that, he was a big bad man. What he did was illegal. What he did was a quid pro quo. And that's what they impeached Donald Trump for the first time. It's a little pathetic, isn't it? However, Biden's claims about speaking to his son about his overseas business dealings come after his own son said in an interview that they did speak about business just once. But like I said earlier, nobody is surprised about any of this. This is not new news. All of this came out years ago. Most people who have not had their head in the sand or up Democrats' asses has known for a very long time that Joe Biden was a corrupt piece of garbage. We knew he was a corrupt piece of garbage whenever he ran for president the first 2 times and had to drop out for plagiarism. We've known he was a corrupt piece of garbage whenever every single vote that he had on foreign affairs when it dealt with war was on the wrong side of history. We've known he was a corrupt piece of garbage whenever he's on the Senate floor talking about, I don't want my kids growing up in a racial jungle, talking about integrating black and white neighborhoods into public school systems. We've known he's been trash. Yet now they want to make this sound like this is breaking news. This is not breaking news. Many of us tried to talk about this last year and were censored and suppressed and it was deleted and we were banned and we were suspended and we were blocked. Granted, I didn't have this page at the time, but I'm on like my 3rd Facebook page because of all of the censorship. I kept getting banned for speaking the truth. I kept getting blocked for speaking the truth. Fact checkers on every single thing that I post, regardless of the source that it came from. And they did this with Joe Biden last year and all of his corrupt dealings with his son, all of the stuff that he wasn't supposed to do while he was vice president, like personal business on Air Force Two with his son, taking him to China for a private equity deal. That came out. No one talked about it. And if you tried, you got banned. But now all of a sudden, it's going to start coming out. Now, why? Why would it all of a sudden start coming out? Well, maybe it's because CNN's ratings are like around 33%. They're about a third of what they were before Joe Biden took office. Whenever they had somebody to hate, whenever they could talk 24 hours a day about Orange Man bad, they had their cult-like viewership tuned in. Yeah, Orange Man bad, Orange Man bad. And they kept it on CNN, even though they were perpetuating lies for 4 years. Russia hoax was a lie. Impeachment was a lie. That was Joe. Everything has been a lie. The quote-unquote insurrection, January 6th, was a lie. It was a bunch of old fat tourists walking around the White House and the guards let them in. Yet somehow we are supposed to believe CNN and MSNBC, New York Times, Washington Post, all these companies that say that the insurrection on January 6th was worse than 9/11? Get the fuck out of here with that. That's why your viewership is down. People are finally starting to realize that without your boogeyman, you're nothing but a bunch of garbage. They should have realized it 4 years ago. Better late than never. It's about time. They should be out of business. They're not about reporting the news. They're about reporting propaganda. All of this stuff that I covered in this article came out years ago. And now we're allowed to start talking about it because Joe Biden is such an awful president that now it's okay to talk about it because they have no problems if he gets taken out of office. Because their golden child, Kamala Harris, would swoop in and take his place, even though nobody wanted her. Like I said on my previous video, she got 0 delegates. She had to drop out, and Tulsi Gabbard murdered her in the primaries. Called her out on every corrupt thing she's done on a public stage. And she dropped out, and yet somehow she got the VP nod. Why did she get the VP nod? Because she's a woman. Because she identifies as a woman of color. Not just one color, but 2 colors. She's black and Indian. She can't say African, because she's not. Her black side's from Jamaica. She checked off so many of the Democrat boxes that they had no choice. And honestly, I think they wanted her to be the presidential candidate, but she got murdered on stage in the primaries and had to drop out. Because if she would have continued, it would have just been embarrassing. I'm almost to the point where I believe that the DNC wanted Kamala Harris and Beto O'Rourke, 2 of the worst human beings on this planet, to be their president and vice presidential candidate. And I can speak on Beto because I'm from Texas and Beto is a piece of shit. But none of this was new. Absolutely none of it. But we're allowed to speak on it now because Joe Biden is such a bad president that they have no problems talking about it. So anyway, guys, what's your take on this? How much of this information did you already know about? Are you surprised that it's finally coming out? Are you surprised that they're not suppressing it the way that they were last year? Or is it no surprise to you whatsoever because the presidential election is done? Because they got their guy in. I honestly thought that they would start letting this stuff out in February. As soon as he took office January 20th, I figured they would start making the moves to get him removed so Kamala Harris could take over. I'm honestly surprised that it took 4 months for it to happen. But it is what it is. Let me know your thoughts on this, guys. Make sure to leave a comment. We'll have a discussion about it. Hit the thumbs up on the video. Share the video if you can. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel and hit the bell to get notifications. And we'll see you on the next video. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And as my kid says,
click on bell
to get notifications for upcoming videos.